So yes, you did read that right. It is the top 10 best books I haven't read. These are 10 books that I mean to read, that I've wanted to read for a long time, I just haven't gotten to, but I think I'm going to love. Mostly books that people tell me I need to read, shout at me that I haven't read. When you upload a top 10 sci-fi books like I have, and these are the sort of books that appear in people's comments asking why it's not on there. And I think the main reason I'm doing this is to force myself to read them. I want to pledge that by this time next year, I will have read these books. I'm making a terrible mistake. So yes, September 2025, come at me, ask me if I've read them all, and if I haven't, you can tell me that I haven't. Alright, these are ordered from books that I think I will like the least, all the way to books that I think I will like the most, and this is based purely on my expectations of the books, basically. So, starting right away is a book that everyone tells me I need to read. It's on everyone's top 10 sci-fi lists. I got 15 comments of people asking me why it wasn't there on my sci-fi list, and that is Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game. I have this little mass market paperback that I picked up secondhand that I really like, and I was really excited to read this book until I watched the movie, which I thought was awful. And I know the book's going to be slightly different, but I'm pretty sure the main beats are going to be the same, right? Kid goes training at the war thing, reveals, twists and turns. So I will read this, but I'm going into it with pretty low expectations. But I know it's some people's favourite book of all time, so I do need to give it a chance. And I do also have Speaker for the Dead on my shelf somewhere as well, another little secondhand mass market paperback. So if this does turn out to be better than I'm expecting, I'll read that one as well. Book 9 is a book I picked up when I was first kind of getting back into reading. I was watching a lot of classic sci-fi booktubers at the time, like Bookclub, who's just one of my favourite channels of all time. You should absolutely check him out. And I was buying a lot of books that were on sort of his top 10s and sort of his top lists. And then I kind of read a few of them and I realised that maybe this classic era of sci-fi isn't for me. There's some books on there that I've loved so far, but there's a couple other books that just didn't land with me, and I think I might need to reread them. Books like Solaris, which I know is a classic and everyone loves it. I just didn't enjoy it that much. I think I just need to reread it though. And this is another one along those lines that I'm a little bit worried I won't love because of the age of it, and that I'm just not clicking with that genre of sci-fi. And that one is Hot House by Brian Aldiss. So all I know about this one is that it's post-apocalyptic. I think there's talking dogs in this one. Is this the Brian Aldiss with talking dogs in it? Which seems a bit weird, but it's meant to be fantastic. It is often listed in some of the best sci-fi lists of all time, and I would have read it already. I was planning on reading it directly after Solaris, but then after I came off Solaris a bit disappointed. Hot House has scared me away now, because I don't want to read another book that people love and then tell people I didn't love it. But yeah, there we go. Number 9, Hot House. I'll just take a moment to say if you want to see reviews for any of these videos, let me know in the comments below, and make sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button so that you get notified when these reviews do go up. Without any further ado though, number 8 is a classic horror book by Stephen King. I feel like I've read the main Stephen King books now. I've read It, I've read Salem's Lot, I've read Pet Sematary, and then I feel like the fourth book in that sort of classic Stephen King, in my mind anyway, is The Shining. A movie I loved, and a book that's just a little bit longer than a book that I would just randomly pick up and read. So I really need to put the time aside to read it. It's only like 500 pages, so it is only like a week or so, but I just need to get to it. I don't know why I haven't read The Shining yet. I think it's because I like the movie so much, and I know they're going to be slightly different, and I'm just a little bit worried that I won't like it very much. A lot of these books are on here because I'm worried I won't like them, even though they're well beloved. And Stephen King has a tendency, at least in the middle of the books, to kind of drag on a little bit for me. Normally by the end of the books, all that dragging on was just character work that all pays off. But it does mean that when I look at a little bit of a bigger book by him, I get a little bit worried about what's going to go on. Oh, but holding it in my hand right now, I feel like I have to read it. Maybe I'll read it in October. I'll read this sometime in the next year, but I might read it next month. Let me know if you want me to read it. Up next, a book I picked up just recently is Daniel Keyes' Flowers for Algernon. This is the first, but not the last time we're going to see these Sci-Fi Masterworks covers. I really like these printings. I think they look really cool on the shelf. But Flowers for Algernon, the story of a man who is given the gift of smarter intelligence and boosted intelligence, and then, I believe, slowly loses that. I haven't read it yet because I haven't been in a spot where I want to cry, and I think this is a book that's going to make me cry. I am a sensitive sausage. But it's meant to be fantastic. It does. My one issue is I've picked it up a few times and it has that sort of older, slightly blurry font. I don't know if you can see that there. That older, slightly blurry font that puts me off a little bit. It's a little bit harder to read than modern fonts in books, but that's no reason to not read the book, so I will get to this one. Up next, another horror book, and one I think I actually will definitely read next month. I'm thinking of doing Horror Book October for Halloween. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. But a book I think I will read, and I've been meaning to get to since high school, is Bram Stoker's Dracula. It comes massively highly recommended. I kind of was a bit turned off by the vampire idea, but then I read things like Let the Right One In and Salem's Lot, and I remembered that before Twilight, vampires were scary. So I am excited to read this one. It's a classic. I believe it's told through a series of like letters and newspaper articles and whatnot, so that could be really interesting. I do really love books that are presented like that. There was a word for it. I can't believe the price tag is right over his face. Come off clean, come off clean. Alright, mostly clean. That's better. The cover's fantastic, and now that the price tag is off his face and head, is actually way more scary. And I do like this Penguin's Classic version of it. So yeah, I think I'll read this next month. Up next is another mass market paperback. Mass market paperbacks are my favourite format of book, and that is John Scalzi's Old Man War. The only reason I haven't read this yet is because I found out it was a series, and I was thinking of it as a standalone, and I was thinking of it as slotting in as a standalone. I'm not sure I want to read a book that suddenly makes me read a whole series, but this one is meant to be fantastic. I love the concept of it, so I am going to read it. I just need to find the time to put it in. Has anyone read the sequels to this? Are the sequels to this worth reading after you read the main one, or does it kind of stand as a standalone? Up next is a book I haven't read because I'm worried I'm not smart enough. When I started this channel, I envisioned this being a read-along book, but I think I chickened out of that because I don't think I'm smart enough to explain what's going on in this book as it goes. And that is Gene Wolfe's The Book of the New Sun. I have volume 1 here, which includes Shadow and Claw. Again, Sci-Fi Masterworks, I love these covers. All I know about this book is that it supposedly starts off kind of fantasy-ish and then reveals that we're actually in a sci-fi, and that it's supposed to be supposedly dastardly hard to read. It's supposed to be a really complicated plot with really complicated ideas and thoughts, and that excites me. It excites me so much. I think it's going to be such a good read. I'm really excited to read it, but I'm terrified to read it and then talk about it on this channel because you'll all realize what an idiot I am. So that's what's holding me off this one. If anyone has any suggestions for the best way to read this, is there like an accompanying blog I should read through, or does someone already have a read along of this that I could follow along with? Because I think I might need some help with this one. Alright, number 3. I have read 2 Philip K. Dick books so far. Ubik is one of my favourite books of all time, and Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep disappointed me. You can see my review in the corner for why. But I have been really, really excited to get to A Scanner Darkly. This is a Philip K. Dick book I know nothing about. I haven't seen the movie, cartoon animation. I don't remember what it is. I haven't been told what the book's about. I don't have any expectations other than it's meant to be good. And my expectations of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is what let that book down for me. So I think I'm going to read this one soon before I get any spoilers or any indication of what it's about. Because I'm really excited to get to it. And I don't know what it is about these Philip K. Dick book covers done by W&N, but I really like them. I think I've got 4 of his books in this version so far, and I think I'm going to pick up the rest. Alright, up next is a book series that is here entirely for my friend Dan over at Digger Dan Reads. He has been hounding me to read it. I want to read it, but I'm terrified of reading it. As I said back with Old Man's War, the thought of getting into a long series is kind of terrifying. Long fantasy books scare me even more, and this is just a very long series of long fantasy books. This is, of course, Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. This is the first one, Eye of the World. I haven't read any of these. I don't even know what Wheel of Time's about. If I had to describe what Wheel of Time was about right now, all I could tell you is that it's a fantasy series. I don't know the setting, I don't know the plot, I don't know the general conceits of the story. Now, there are going to be people in the comments that are going to ask me, Benjamin, you haven't read the first Wheel of Time book. Why do you own all 14 of them? And that's a very good question. The answer is because I was at my local bookshop one day, I'd been eyeing the Wheel of Time books for a long time, and I just noticed that the first version, the only version of the Eye of the World they had, was the TV show tie-in cover. The rest of the books were still in nice covers, reasonably nice covers, I think these are fine. But that one had now changed to the TV show tie-in, and book 2 now had the big fake sticker on it. So it looked to me like the series was going to slowly be replacing, in the next printings, the covers with the awful TV show covers. And so I kind of panicked. I had a voucher from a mate of mine for my birthday, and the voucher was for the exact amount I would need for all the Wheel of Time box sets. And the box sets didn't have anything to do with the TV show on them. No stickers, no covers, no nothing. So I just bought all of them. They look really cool on the shelf, though. Not my smartest purchase. The first 4 words of this book are the title of the series, The Wheel of Time Turn. That's hilarious. I love that. I don't know why I find that so funny. But yeah, this is going to be book 10 in my fantasy reading challenge. If you want to check out my fantasy reading challenge playlist, the thing is up there. I have one more book to get to, and then I will start on this massive book that is making my arm tight just holding it up. Why are fantasy books so long? 800 pages? That's like 4 books. And number 1, the book that I am almost certain I will love, but I will be crushed and crucified if I don't. The book that I have avoided purely because of how good a reading year I've had in 2024. Honestly, I have read over 10 5-star reads. I've read over 10 books that any other year of my life would be the best book I read that year. And so I'm avoiding this one because I'm pretty sure it will also be a book that could be the best book I read all year. And I don't want to oversaturate this year. I don't want every other year to never live up to 2024. So my plan is to read it in January. And that book is Dan Simmons' Hyperion. I know I should have read Hyperion years ago. I know I should stop recording this video and go read Hyperion now. But if I do that, then *�żemätrix can't be the top book of the year. Then Dune can't be the top book of the year. Dune Messiah can't be the top book of the year. Red Rising can't be the top book of the year. Golden Sun can't be the top book of the year. Hyperion will be the top book of the year. And for some reason I have a problem with that. So this is going to kick off 2025 for me. It'll probably be the first book I read in 2025, and it'll probably be the best book I read in 2025, and completely ruin that year for me right off the bat. But yeah, this is a sci-fi classic. It's many, many, many people's favourite book. Everything about it sounds like a sort of book I would love. So I'm just hoping that the really high expectations don't let me down on this one. So there you go. A bit of a weird videos topic, but one that I've been thinking about doing for a while and I thought would be a bit of fun. So yes, I pledge to read these books in the next year. Mostly, probably. If you're still watching, thank you so much. Let me know in the comments below what you think of my list, what are books that you know you should read that you haven't got to yet. I feel like we're always telling each other when we talk about books like, oh, you haven't read Dune, you need to read Dune. But there's so many books and so little time, you know. I read 50 plus books a year, and that's definitely on the higher end of an average person. If you're the sort of person that reads 2 or 3 books a year, how are you ever supposed to get to all of these books? This list alone is like 7-8 years worth of reading for someone like some of my friends. So, yeah. The existential dread is creeping in. I better end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see reviews for any of these videos. And just remember to keep reading.